dishonor decent beings in this universe. And, you know, I say this repeatedly because you may be a first timer on this video, but to the repeaters, I say it a trillion times. But when I say a decent being, I mean you don't have ill will, hidden dishonor, nefarious feelings, meaning you are legitimately a decent person. I didn't say you were religious or spiritual, I said you're decent. I didn't say you were atheist, I didn't say you were agnostic, I didn't say you were Catholic, Protestant, I didn't say you were a Buddhist, I didn't say that you were any of those things. I said that you're a decent being and you have no ill will and hidden dishonor and nefarious feelings. If that is you, then I honor you. You're a being who does not, or should I say, 0% backstabbing behavior. 0%, right? You're not a hypocrite. You're not, you don't operate, at least, you know, at least you try to govern yourself as such. You don't have, you know, double standards, and you can live like trash while you have some kind of a keen eye on everybody else's decisions in life. You can be ill will while pretending to not be ill will while claiming someone else's ill will or inauthentic. That's not you. So if that's you, albeit flawed, albeit you make mistakes, albeit, you know, you have room for growth and development like every other walking being, no matter what you're trying to act like, this is just saying. You have room for growth. I honor you. I actually do honor you because there are not many of you. I know that there's a lot of us, or in this world, wearing costumes like decent people, okay? And then in some cases, these are just simply being asleep, okay? This is something that I'm really coming to swallow. You know, when you're asleep and you're unconscious and you're ran by that other stuff, it just is what it is, okay? So we're going to have a discussion and a mini reading, okay? It is not titled because that is the way I'm treating YouTube for now. Futuristically, we'll get back into, you know, the cosmetics and aesthetics, but right now I'm not titling because it's, yeah, we're not going to help the some bitches. Is they're going to have to bring their whole ass, oh my God. I'm not going to give a clue. How about that? Because see, the thing about titles and the thing about hashtags, and this is, you know, sidebar and unrelated to the discussion and the reading that we're going to be doing right now. Okay? Sidebar is in social media and technology. The thing about that is essentially it is depending on the platform that you're using, it is creating an algorithm. It is giving an alert of what you are going to be talking about. AI and algorithms, as well as the platform's organizers and overseers, can then you have certain buzzwords, you know, just like you can on TikTok and other platforms, you can put in your thing, like, okay, if somebody types this word in, like you could put something on there to where like it doesn't go through, kind of vibe, right? Like, oh, if somebody says this, blah 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 blah. Same thing with social media. So I'm like, right now this ain't about aesthetics, bitch. This is not about cut off khakis, French braids, and house shoes. This ain't about aesthetics. This ain't about fancifulness and you know, and presentation, bitch. Right now, it's going to be, it's about information for those. I already know my stalkers. They're first. If you build it, they will come. I learned this about good 5, 6, 7 years ago. Okay? If you build it, they will come. They're your first ones. They're your number one fans, baby. I've been saying that for years. They're your first ones. They're your number one fans. Your nosy nosersons from Nosensville, okay, are the first ones, and then they're the same ones that pretend that they do not, and I mean absolutely do not watch your content. Can't see my face, but I'm making a face. Saying, yeah, right. Okay, so let's get into the actual discussion before I get too far off. Okay, I'm hoping, I don't know how it sounds yet, and I won't know how it sounds until I go back. So my apologies in advance. That's the thing about a live. That's the thing about a live, okay? So if you're hearing all kinds of, I am outside, so if you're hearing anything at any given moment, it's again environment, okay? Whether that be machinery, lawnmowers, bitch, all of a sudden people want to crack firecrackers, bitch, and then nigga, then it's gonna be street. It's like, really though? Crenshaw on Friday night, I think the scene boom. Now everybody, bitch, what the fuck? Anyway. Let's get to the discussion. It's a collective discussion / reading. Posing questions to the universe, to the collective, but maybe to those who are supporting of the collective, okay? I'm going to say that because sometimes the readings aren't even... Sometimes the discussions and the readings ain't even for the collective. It's maybe people who care for the collective, you know, a non-toxic, non-convoluted, non-nefarious dealings, non-betrayers, non-fake ass, none of those. But to the innocent lives who maybe sincerely, you know, care for the collective. And so a lot of information I do share is for y'all too, okay? Not that it's going to help, because you're going to have to go down your journey to become discombobulated by the head fuck. And that's not something that the collective, I, or no one else can do for you. This is why the collective, when they make decisions and they do certain things, it's because they can't help you. It's not that they don't want to, it's you're in a head fuck. You have a spell on. And until you're ready to realize just that, there's nothing they can do for you. Until you're ready to realize that you've been gaslit, for those of you who can't seem to swallow the notion of actual spell work, or who maybe kind of snickle and kind of smirk at the whole notion, little do you know, but you know, just kind of smirking at the notion, oh my God, that is hokum. Oh my God, that, like, you know. But we can agree that manipulation has been going on since the beginning of ages. And manipulation is spell work. Not all manipulation is bad per se, neither good nor bad, it's intention. But when someone is trying to convolute the truth, that is a form of baneful magic. You don't need a witch's cauldron. You can actually have a whole double life, and by day Christian, by night toxic crazy stalker witch. You don't have to have any of those commercialisms that we've been taught in Sunday school, by the movies. You know, that's yeah, those are aspects, but that's not really, at the end of the day, it's high level, concentrated, organized manipulation. That's spell work. They're trying to get you to see the truth differently than what it is. That's manipulation. They're trying to get you to see the truth swapped. That's another version of differently than what it is. That's manipulation. When there's a concert of things being put in place for that, that's spell work. Because the outcome and the goal is to get a certain people, person, place, thing, group, organization to see something in a manner that is not actually true. That's actually possibly in reverse. Or would they say inverted? We don't talk about that. Now, let's talk about belief systems. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about games, gaslighting, triangulation, and how it's all used. I'm going to give some examples just to be fair. Remember, this is for information, education. Your discretion is advised. Just so you all know, I am not somebody who makes decisions just based off of anything external in terms of whether that be a preacher, a teacher, a belief system. I can't speak for everybody, but I don't make any big time decisions, not really. The decisions are going to have some rootedness and some experiences that I've had, okay? For me, it's going to have to be tied to something. It ain't just, I heard, wooty wooty whoop, the preacher man, the first lady, the intercessor, it's not going to be any of that for me. It's going to be, what have I experienced with this person? Whether people believe it or know it or not, what have I experienced? On a consistent enough basis to lead me to some kind of a conclusion. Especially if it's insidious and it's behind the scenes. Because that's worse. Because it's not something then that you can't, you see what I'm saying? That's the problem with covert abuse, is it's just that, it's covert. And then if the victim tries to speak out about it, then the covert mental ill people are going to be saying stuff like, what? And they think it's cute, and still they ain't going to think it's cute. They think it's cute. Until always happen. Always happen. And there ain't no team of nobody that has ever been able to stop it, and neither will there ever be. Now, because you learn as you find out, because if that were the case, then all the people that be on that shit, they wouldn't have had certain things that they continue to experience. That's indicative of, yeah, they have vulnerability, they can be touched. That's what that's indicative of. Okay. So let's get to the topic. So, and I'm going to try, I'm not perfect, and I'm not perfect at this either, but I'm going to give intention and try to, I play devil's advocate, and I try to present all sides. No matter what my stance is. That's a hard thing to do. You really, I ain't going to lie. That's a challenging thing, because you have to be an insightful person, an enlightened person. You have to be introspective and kind of willing to put a pin in your own, put a pin in your emotions and a pin in your viewpoint in order to do it. And that's hard. It's harder than it sounds, because we're hardwired with our shit, right? Nose blindness, y'all heard of it. We're hard. We all are. We all are. Okay. I'm no exception. There's nobody else walking. That's an exception. Okay. So we can agree, collective, and those who love the collective, whoever you all are, we probably all could agree that life as we know it, humanity would benefit if we respected one another, right? Truly. Now, depending on what our circumstances and situations are, you all would agree that no matter what we do and where we go, or what situation we land in, that we're honoring and respectful to people's choices, especially if you're stepping into someone else's business, someone else's household, someone else's whatever. We can agree, yes? We can. But let's talk about underlying. Let's talk about a truth, even if you are respectful. Let's get to the meat. I like to call it the meat and the potatoes. Cutting through the illusion and the bullshit, the gaslighting, triangulation, and the whole framing. Okay. Let's appeal to my Christian fellas and sisters out there. Or should I? Cool. But some of y'all gonna find out some of that is a uniform. That's the disguise. For some. Because they're into things that they're pretending to not be into. When they talk to you, if you're a Christian, when they talk to you, some of them are on the dark side of it. But let's stick to the topic. Christian. We all can agree. There are some things now, you got to understand who you're listening to. You need to know who you're listening to on this video. You need to know that. It'll serve. Because you're listening to somebody who is a sincere person who takes things to heart, that puts heart and soul in everything. I didn't say perfectly, I just said heart and soul. That's what I said, pay attention. Okay? Heart and soul. Huh? It ain't an ornament for a bitch. It's not an ornament. It's not a catchphrase. When I was on one side of the spectrum and to the other, either way is something that was always done with sincerity and in regard from a benevolent space. Always. Okay? But in each journey I've lived and phase, it's something that you would consider and I would consider as being part of you. No? If you were, and this is just something to think about, you can go back to whatever your obsession is, your idea, this is giving yourself space to review. Something really has happened to humanity that's got us scared as fuck to independently think. Sidebar, I met a witch yesterday or day before yesterday. Self-proclaiming. Now, I'm not calling her names and I'm not being derogatory and I'm not implying anything. Okay? Let me make that 100% perfectly clear, because some of us, we hear those terms and we have a program connotation behind it and don't know we living with motherfuckers, bitch, that's bitches, nigga, and yet, oh, come back. You know, it's like, bitch, you're a nigga. Anyway, so I met a witch the other day. She's self-proclaiming. This is what she proclaimed as I went and I was talking with her and asking some questions and getting some product. And I didn't ask her this. She volunteered the information. Okay. She gave me information about her upbringing. She happened to be born and raised in a pagan household. Okay. So she's raised by witches, and they really believed in nature and intention. Like she shared this with me, and how as a little girl she wanted to rebel and she wanted to because she was raised that way, she wanted to explore religion, because she was like, how come we have to be this? What if I want to be blah blah blah? And she said that her parents, because of the type of parents that she had, her parents gave her the liberties and the freedoms to look into, learn, study about religion. And so she went into religion. I think she said she started going to church and into religion, and that's where she discovered for herself that she didn't want to be a part of it. And as we were talking, she and I was like, wow, that's beautiful. She was like, yeah, they gave me the space to explore that and figure that out for myself. I said, exactly, huh? I said, they didn't forbade you, it wasn't forbidden in their household, because she was a child. Now go figure. Okay, she was telling me about, as she was like a teenage, a young girl, and she wanted to explore religion. She wanted to, because her parents were the opposite. Now, why am I sharing this with this discussion? This is why she ended up leaving. She said she explored religion and left it because of some things in which she and I was talking about. So, the fear, the control, the cult-like behavior, the hypocrisy. She was like, honestly, she was like, what happened to all this love? And she was like, I saw some things in there. She was like, that was, I said, yeah, huh? Her parents didn't go, oh, absolutely not. We are a pagan family with 20 generations of you shout thou'eth, nevereth, thus and so forth, ever, in dying and housing. They honored her because they knew that first and foremost, her exploring, nobody can. That's going to get like a ton of bricks for somebody one day, way late in the game. Late. It's going to be late there too. They had the maturation, her parents, even with their strong roots of the paganism and all that stuff. They had the development, power, knowledge, skill set to understand that their daughter studying to figure out what she wanted, looking into religion versus what their roots were and their traditions were, that it wasn't going to rub off on osmosis, that wasn't going to change who they were and what their beliefs were and their practices, and that to honor their own daughter, that she had her own sovereign right to figure that out once she got of a certain age. It wasn't not in my house kind of toxic ass vibe. Now, all within reason, because again, there's going to always be people that come out with some to the left extremes, where it's like somebody's in there sacrificing chickens and, okay, come back home, come on, come back home. 'Cause ain't nobody talking about all that. Some of the very people that's acting like they got a problem with it are the people who practice it in secret. Christians, I came under the notion, like I said, I've always been full throttle, sincere, under the notion of it's a part of you, nobody, like ready to go to bat kind of vibe. Like, yeah, you can't dictate and control that of others, but nobody should be trying that on you. So kind of ready to say, hey, if you can't accept this part of me, then you can't accept none of me. If you have a problem with this, you have a problem with me. Some of us have left friendships. If we're honest, if we look back, depending on how you came up, you have left a lot of things, or took a loss, whether you willfully left it or it just happened, or whatever the case, because there was no honor. There was no, you would have said something like, I would have said something like, if you have a problem with my Christianity, you have a problem with me. That's how we came up. If somebody had a problem with it, whether it was indirect, the way they treated you, they, wanted you around, but have a problem with what aspects of you. It's funny, isn't it? Because why do people get luck when you come around? I'm going to make the world continue to look at that until they get good and goddamn honest. In some cases, that's what the whole shit is about in the first place. Repeated cycle. And it's going to come with the same consequences. Or worse. You would feel uncomfortable if the people that you cared for increasingly started having problems with aspects of what makes you you, what helps you to take care of you. And as a Christian, the reason why I'm leaning on that side is because I've been on that side and I know how we divide. Are you trying to say I can't pray, bitch? Now, we wouldn't have cussed. But I'm just saying, some of the things you would, if you were staying with people, then you would have started like maybe looking at them differently and making some kind of realize like they not really, they ain't for you. They not. Even, and start making, again, because if they're trying to take away or influence, hinder, or make a problem with. That's just like, okay. These are things that you'll observe and realize that there's something that's going to have to change, because that's, first and foremost, that's not what family is. That's not what love is. Now, pause, because I'm going to go to another side of the story with the reading. Some of you all have people, and this is the side I think is going to be the reading part, and I'm going to try to keep it streamlined so it's not all complicated and everything, bitch. So, this side of what I'm about to say, I believe that's the reading, what the cards are, what we're going to get into. Some of you all have people, okay, whether this is friends, relatives, people, that's helping you in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or whatever, people that you've known, blah, 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 that are, they think you're stupid, number one. They think you're stupid. They think you don't see straight through their acts. They're hiding behind their spouses to try to make you believe. It's not me. not me. Now, some of you, if you know these people, because now if you don't know them long enough, it's going to be hard for you to gauge what these people's temperaments and personalities are like. Okay, so caution with that, because if you've known them for all of 6 minutes, you might not really know the fullness. But if this is people you have enough history or strong enough roots, you know, Negro, please. For some, it's their way of trying to cover up their own nefarious shit to the world view and, you know, anybody else. It's not me. It's nice. And you know the truth, like, bitch, please, you run shit. Who you think you fooling over here? You do what the fuck you want. You do what the hell you want. You forgot who you were talking to here. Please. That's another cover. And that works well with religion. That goes perfectly in streamline with the religious garb. You know, I have to. And it's like, yeah, any other time, bitch. If walls could talk, Nick. It's cowardly, it's cowardly. It's to cover it up. And it's also the sociopathy to look like, you know, I'm trying to, yet you'll see patterns of their reactions and responses to things you do that lets you know that they too had a problem with something. They don't think you're paying that much attention. But we are. And instead of admitting and just owning, you know, things like that, they need reaction from you. They want energy, especially when you kind of start. I told you guys, it's the parasitic. Abusers want to know that they can get a reaction. That's how they get their feed. And that's really the elementary version of truth. I don't care if they're conscious of it or not, but that's their pattern and their behavior. They want to know that they can irritate you. And this is why they start picking and finding issues with everything about you, even to the extent of twisting and discombobulating your words, almost to such an extent that you start wanting to wear a damn body camera and a recorder because of the fact that that's what the fuck they do. To continue to have the world have misconstrued information about you. Reactive abuse is something that they are always trying to provoke. I'm going to secretly do shit to you and your kid behind the scenes. And then if you tell anybody that our whole ass is sitting here throwing signals at you and your kid, they're going to say you crazy because we're a part of a secret collection, which they just don't know that I do know. But, see it? Now, all under the guise, like I said, of the costumes that's being worn by many. People who don't otherwise live like nothing. Now, this ain't a judgment on my part. This is simply observation. Just as sure as shit as they observe us. No? You all have people, you know, it's almost, I'm telling you, the old people used to say shit like this. And it's, I think it's in the Proverbs, but just said in a prettier way. Like careful of eating food or some shit like, you know, people who, they act like, basically they're talking about communal narcissism. They'll tell you, yeah, I swear I'm going to find that verse. They tell you, yeah, sure, eat, be merry, Sukasa, Mekasa, Sukasa, you know, all of those things, but they talk about you behind your back. They complain and bitch and moan. Or they start doing things to make you uncomfortable. It's like, how do you invite somebody to your home and then consume the space in which you get, like, but you see that? And it's like, no, we welcome, but this is the stuff that the world wouldn't know. And if the target implies anything, they fashion it in such a way to first and foremost convolute it, and then to make it appear as if that target is just something that they're trying to run into. The writing was on the walls from the beginning. Just for most of you, you already knew. As they try to set that up for their husband and their wife. If you can't take care of you, and some of you are learning how people knew about shit that they shouldn't knew about shit by the conversation that you're having with them, and them saying shit when they don't realize that they saying shit that's exposing what they knew, pretending to not know. Oh! You can't take care of you. Now, like I said, we're really leaning in on family and friends. You know, we can't really so much, you know, in programs and shelters and stuff. Now, these environments, now the caveat is if you have your own space in the shelter, then you still can kind of man the energy. Does that make sense? In terms of the separate space, not the whole entire building per se, but to a degree you can. Okay, that's the caveat. But if you're family, friends, you know, certain space where you have no privacy, so basically it's traffic, you know, the people who are the owners, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, then if you can't create the environment to where you're laying your head, it sounds intentional, doesn't it? In some cases, you'll start to pick that up. If you can't do the things, for many of you on the Christian side, this is why I'm going here, you know, for the real hardcore, legit motherfuckers, not the ornamental type, okay, nigga? You would start to kind of, you would feel some kind of way, like you can't, bitch, you can't pay, you can't get your get up. You start feeling some kind of way. Like, am I some real code that's trying to stop me from my And as they just walk through, I mean, and this is not saying a judgment, we're talking observation. If you don't have your own space, even if you were invited to that space, you don't have your own space. And some of you are going to discover that some stuff is done after they get a benefit, and now they want to trigger and provoke you so they can do the same thing that they've always done, manufacture a fight. I don't know. And it's still going to be the same cycle. It's still going to have the same consequences. What happened before, they'll happen. Is that your fault, target? Nope. People are choosing to betray you and your children. People are choosing to sit up there and throw signals and be weird and then talk about church in another breath. People are choosing to hide behind their spouses so that they don't have to accept the full weight of truth that they have some underlying issues they really don't give a fuck. but to cover it up like they want to help at the same time. My husband, please, they forgot. My wife, please, like if they forgot you knew. They forgot you know. Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway. Sure, convenient. I love that. Because, I mean, I grew up, I've seen it from a young girl up until now. I've seen it. I call it convenient submission. Because I also seen in another breath and do what the fuck they want. Spouse of this and shit or not, and dare the spouse to have a goddamn problem with shit. Dare. Like, nigga, you can help me. Like, nigga. I've seen it. It's not speculation. I've seen it. So it kind of lets you know it's convenient. Okay? So, now, you all will, you will feel like somebody's trying to hinder you from things that can help you. As you try to make yourself, like if you're in these situations, you try to make yourself useful, you try to do what you can from where you're at, you realize you're becoming more and more depleted, discombobulated, because there's hindrances and restrictions and caveats on what you can and can't do, while you trying to maintain you're energetically sensitive, you have whatever your dynamics are, and it's like you are going to need to be able to think clearly. See, this is where you're going to pick it up. You need to be able to think clearly to make clear decisions. See, people love talking about, make good choices, but then they make sure you're good and discombobulated. You don't have a moment to yourself, or you can't make your space comfortable for yourself. And anything that you say is going to be misconstrued as some form of ingratitude, twisted, possibly flipped. Like you're not honoring. Most of you ain't gonna not honor. In other words, if somebody asks you to not do something, then you're simply not going to do it. Whether you have a problem with it or not, that's not what I said. You trying to take care of you has nothing to do with trying to control, and I'm going to say that on 1,000 videos, has nothing to do with trying to control someone else's household. So I'm going to be perfectly clear. We're not talking about intruding on people and trying to make somebody be what we are or whatever, or to dictate how they run shit. Many of you, this is the nature, this is the dynamic of abusive circles. You don't do shit in there, you ain't supporting. You do shit in there, you're trying to run a household. Which one is it going to be? That's the problem with abuse nature. That's the problem with a narcissist dynamic. You're never going to please a narcissist. It's going to be a problem. Listen, it's going to always be a problem. Or something to complain about. Oh, I don't like that smell. Okay, then you're not doing no smell. Oh, this is it. Okay. Oh, I don't like that right there. Okay, then do nothing. Oh, they're not doing nothing. Okay. It be that vibe. Because the goal is not what you think the goal is. As you make adjustments, that's when you see that too. Okay, I'm going to adjustment because, again, this depends on your situation. Okay, adjustment, adjust. This ain't my shit. This ain't my spot. This ain't my adjust. And then it's still going to be something else and something else and something else and something else to the point, and that's what it's designed to be. to irritate you, aggravate you, to get your reaction so that they can then say, I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't understand. We didn't do anything. They just, you know. People wonder why folks leave and ghost, and they like to accuse targets of being users, but in fact it's the other way around. You see, using ain't just about monetary gain. When you come to a place of realize that you are being hindered, while people pretending to not have no active will for participation in it. So it's like they want to keep you as some kind of imprisoned or reserved battery for their good fortune. That's going to turn into a nightmare, as it always do, and it always will, eventually. So let's wrap her up. We're already almost to an hour, and I have to check on my boy. And I gotta do some more clearing. Gotta do some more clearing, check on my boy. Got some stuff that I gotta reflect on and get going for us. But if this is your reading, let's get into the side of the reading where it's people are hiding behind their spouses while they're trying to cover up their reputation. They're the ones that had a problem with you speaking out and speaking the truth about things that are happening. These are people who have covered up a whole lot of shit, pretending to not. These are the same people who are really trying to work with energies to drive you and your children crazy and to make you look all some kind of way so that nobody would believe the truth. And also they think you're stupid. They think that you cannot discern and see due to all of their spell work and sigils and all the shit ton of motherfuckers. Their psychological warfare tactics and all of their shit. Okay? They think that because of all of that, you can't discern that they whole ass is all, you know. But they ain't really funny like that. This is that self-love journey. As a Christian, y'all ain't gonna fool with people who have a problem with your Christianity, and you will hold your chest out proudly and strongly, and you would have a cross as tall as the Empire State Building around your goddamn neck. And the motherfucker who had a problem with you with that, then you wasn't fucking with them. Am I lying? And if you were forced in a situation by circumstance to have to deal, you gonna keep it straight cold-blooded as that, period. You're not gonna be discombobulated and convoluted and delusional in your thinking about what she really is. Because people who will love you and are for you and accept you, then that comes with your beliefs. That comes with your practices. That also comes with your health and your well-being. They sure ain't be people on no other side shit. They sure ain't gonna be no people with no vindictive shit while sitting up there and giving your kids some fucking Kool-Aid, bitch. They're not, and then sit there play Christian and play we are family shit. That's not healthy. Knowing your situation, knowing your circumstance, knowing what you've gone through, inviting you, and then making you uncomfortable. That just doesn't make sense. And I get it. Target, you get it, and I get it, and I'm sure you all get it. I almost guarantee that you all are people that you really don't bother people. You possibly try very hard. People intrude on you. You possibly try very hard to stay there because you, not out of being funny, but just realizing that people be on some other something. Like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you probably just, let me just stay the fuck out the way. And even that's not enough. And for some of you, you're like, Brandy, Gloomy, we just need our own space. We just need space. Why do people have to make a thing out of shit? Why does it always have to be that somebody, it's like, because that's leechy behavior. That's what it's called, energetic leeching. It's like the feed. It's like some of you are so depleted. You're like, people want to tell you, like, nigga, I'm homeless, nigga, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm sitting here trying to be, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, what? You trying to work, get your own get up together, bitch. And true family, friends, people who claim to love you, and that's true, they get that. They're not looking, because if they're, listen to me, hear it and hear it good. I didn't say that they were rich and they have problems of their own. What I'm saying is, if obviously they had a level, some piece of a materialism that they already have. I mean, we're talking about how and or why. We're just simply saying they did. Then from that space, if that's really what they're wanting to do in sincerity, you know what I'm saying? That's something that's at their disposal. You follow me? Are you following? It's not to the depletion. It's not something where, you know, you're trying to take it away from them and go, thank you very much, this belongs to me. You know, it's something that they have at the disposal to share. But if you, and so in other words, they're in a position that you're not. They're not trying to get their anything fixed else off of you. It's, I mean, that's how. Obviously, you know, that's to be determined, maturity and intentions and motives and all of that's involved with that. But there's no attachment on it. And if you are already heavily burdened dealing with these things, then, you know, they want you to entertain. Some of you, and if you're not entertaining, you funny style. You being weird. You have a problem with them. When you're simply trying to gain your bearings, you're already in a bad way, you don't have your private space, you're already dealing with burdens with your children, you're not entertainment ready. You're trying to get moments to get your capacities. So that, guess what? Now here's the figure. So that you can what? Get yourself together and all the shit that people sit in the back and talking a whole lot of shit that they shouldn't. Cause if walls could talk, you know, but, you know, so that you can be out of their hair, for lack of better words. So that you, and not in a negative way, just simply, you know, people have their lives in their households that they're used to, you know? So, exactly. So that you can be, because it's supposed to be, okay, let me get myself together. And how do you do that? You got to have a space for it. I'm tired of people pretending like you don't. You've got to have a space. a mind space, a space. Now, we can go in survival mode, but it's a Russian roulette game. It's a roll of the dice. We may make the correct decision. We might not. It may, and you know, that survival mode thing. But so-called break cycles and patterns, and you know, better decisions. What are you doing at in some of these situations? People sitting there actively doing spell work on you and your kids. For those of you, that part is true, where that part is actually true. They're sitting up there in these households and they're doing that spell work. And then bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that's within me. Bless his holy, wonderful name. God. Come on. Or, for others of you, where maybe it's not to that extent, it's just a lot of manipulation and gaslighting and triangulation going on. Some, you know, that subtle manipulation to make things a certain way. Where are you supposed to be going at? Let me end this. I gotta go see what my son is doing, and then I think I'm gonna come back and do the actual reading because we're almost at an hour, and I'm trying to make things shorter. I'm gonna end this clear energy, do with my son, and then I'm gonna get into the actual read, which is gonna lean possibly more towards where whoever you are collective, they think you're stupid. They're playing in your face, they hee-heeing and ha-haing, and they wonder why. See, I ain't saying shit. Disgusting, man. You all take care of yourself the best you can, considering the situation that you are in. That's what I'm going to say. But you have a right to be you. Yes, honor wherever you are. If somebody's telling you they don't want you doing something wrong, whether it's crooked, discriminatory, ulterior motive or not, that's the name of the game. But do what you can do to navigate it, you know, through. Okay? People who love you and care for you and truly accept you and not tolerate you and not sitting up there talking behind your back like you crazy, going full of a puppy. Well, man, that ain't, man, let me get up off this thing.